Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. Normally I'm quite hairy. Well, to be fair, I'm quite hairy through the winter and then in the summer I normally shave, and the last maybe few years during COVID times I've just kept a beard because frankly it was fine. But when I do shave, I do like to use these double-edged safety razors, and I have a vast collection. Well, I used to, because I'd buy them at car boot sales and service them, and then realise that vintage razors actually have some value, and then I'd sell them on. And because I'd want to try new razors. It's a bit of a weird hobby, really. You just want to try new razors to get that difference in cut. And just before I forget, the worst razor I ever bought is a Merkur Futur, and it's absolutely lethal. I don't like that one. Anyway, this one I think was gifted to me possibly by my brother. I don't know, it was in a box of stuff, and it's a Gillette Slim, which I think they're quite good. I mean, they look quite good. I mean, I like Gillette razors in the past, and I've never tried with Slim, but I'd definitely like to try one because it contains two features I really love, and that's the butterfly mechanism for changing the blade, so that makes change the blade ever so nice and easy. But it also has this adjustment for the guard. So to use this, you have to loosen the butterfly a little bit, and I'll just show you the difference. So at one, look at that gap there. You see there's a very tiny gap. You imagine there'll be a sharp razor blade sticking out of that, so less chance of cutting yourself probably. But then if you open it slightly, and then you can adjust the guard, the adjustment up to 9, and then when I shut it, you can see that gap is much bigger. So that'll be a much closer shave. So you've got that shave closeness adjustment, which could be cool, depending on how you like to go. Interesting factoid, I used to get rashes and stuff using regular razor blades when I went to the double-edged safety razors many years ago. Stopped entirely. Definitely recommended. And I hear it's because they're quite close shave, but they don't encourage the hair to grow under the skin. You know, they don't cut it at a weird angle and maybe a bit too short, so I don't know. There's some science there, but it certainly works out. Now, before I use this, of course, it needs a clean up. That's why I've got these materials out, and you can see it's definitely due a clean. And for hygiene reasons, you might want to do that too. And I suppose if you have an autoclave or something similar, you could probably put it in that. But for me, I'm first just going to soak it a little while. You can already see there's some hair in here because I did it on a hair trimmer. Some hair clippings in this IPA alcohol, and wow, I can actually see already there was certainly some gunk in there I didn't show you, I forgot to, and some corrosion, and that IPA has actually just cleaned that up totally, so great, that's working well. So what I'm going to do is just leave that in there for a little bit, and we'll come back to that and just give it a rub down and see what happens. That's been a little while now, so what I'm going to do is take one of my favourite brushes for PCB work, which is a normal one of these brushes, which I've trimmed down to give it a bit more stiffness. And I'm just going to take that over the top. You can see there's a definite discoloration there. And I just want to see if we gently rub it, we might be able to get that off. And I don't really want to resort to brasso and things like that because these are nickel plated and you're going to take that plating off. Not that it looks like there's much plating left, to be honest. But it's definitely a last resort because it's better to get that as clean as possible first so that you really know what you're dealing with before you start hitting it with any kind of abrasive. So I'm going to work on one side of this so we can see if there's a difference. And it really is just a matter of scrubbing. Now, depending on the type of dirt, of course, different solvents will have different effects. Normally IPA is reasonably good on a lot of things, but actually soap and water obviously works wonders as well. And probably, in fact, if you've got it, you might as well start off with the soap and water. And I can see here drips into the IPA, filthy drips dripping off. But that's working quite well. You can definitely see that on the left hand side it's losing that tinge, and I suppose if I open it, it must be getting in there. Yeah, look, it's all getting in there and actually having a go at cleaning that too. Yeah, that's going to do a good job. I shall continue. In fact, look at that, there's a little, just ever so slight touch of rustiness there. But yeah, that's gone out too. It probably wasn't rust, it was probably just blood. Bit of someone's face. So I shall persist in the rubbing down process. I've moved on a little bit now, so I'm working the shaft, and it does have some quite nice knurling on it. And I did a bit of research, and the difference between the Slim and the Fat Boy is the knurling on the adjuster here. So if you look closely, you will see both horizontal knurling and vertical knurling. And that's pretty much everywhere, but on the handles, everything, but this part in particular. And I believe that the Fat only has the vertical knurling. So there, know your knurls, especially if you're buying one and you know you're going to pay, you could pay quite big money for all these things. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you could go and find this razor for, I don't know, 50 quid, 70 quid, maybe more, who knows. So you definitely want to make sure you're buying the right ones, because Gillette, I think it was a period of 3 years that they made the Fat. That's why the Fat is particularly expensive, and I think these were a bit longer. But of course, Gillette themselves have been making razors for a long time, and there are, you know, third-party copies that would have popped up over the years. So you've got to be careful that someone's not trying to flog you something that's, you know, not quite what it is. But you can see now it's absolutely sparkling in here. I mean, I spotted the odd little bit of detail that needs doing, but I would almost use it now. I think I'd be quite happy at this point just to use the razor. It's been sitting in IPA, it's probably clean enough. But what I am going to do now is try to dry it off, and in doing so really work again on that detail, because you're going to get in there with your little cloth to dry it. Now you've got two ways. Obviously you can just rub it. If it's something that's easy to rub like that, you can just give that a little rub, and look at that nice buff polish there. But if it's fiddly, just like a printed circuit board, get your paper, wrap it over a couple of times, pop it in the crevice there, and just use the tip of a brush and just work it like that. And then of course that will lift any dirt out onto the paper. So that's always a good move. But for me, I'm just going to be a bit crude, I think, and then just give it a, you know, quite a coarse rub on the top here. I want to see if I can buff it out, so I'm going to work on just that one half, the one side on the left here. Just see if there's any chance that without any chemicals, I'm going to turn it over, it's this side now, that we can get some sort of buff on it. You know, it's a bit corroded, but who knows. Let's have a go. Sometimes just a bit of paper. You remember from the olden days when you used to polish your shoes, you could just get a bit of rolled up newspaper, and it was just that application of friction. I mean, if you've got a buffing wheel, a bit of a fluffy wheel with some polish, you might get a good job on that. But you know, that's not too bad at all. I'm almost, I think I'd be quite weary of actually applying a bit of Brasso, but I think it's coming out quite well. So I'm just going to give it a rub over. Give it a rub all over. Okay, I was rooting around, I just couldn't resist. I couldn't resist the Brasso. I mean, it came out fine. I thought, that's fine, I can use that. But what could it be? You know, well, how good could it be? It's definitely worth having a quick go. This reminded me of an episode of Seinfeld when Kramer was rubbing down stuff with Brasso. It was giving Jerry a rash. He was using his towel, so don't do that. And I'm not sure, this Brasso's looking a bit odd, to be honest. Pretty sure it's supposed to have a bit more abrasive material in it. Might figure out how to get this activated again. It almost needs a rattle can marble in it, because it's got so much material stuck at the bottom here. There's a bit of goop. Let's just try a bit of that. I might try storing the bottle upside down. So like the other side, I'll just do one side for now, till we can figure out if it's better or not. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Let's have a zoomy zoom. Right, here goes. Is there any abrasive in there? Need some Jeweler's Rouge. Oh, I don't know, I think there was, you know. I mean, it's coming out a bit matte, but I think after a polish. Yeah, I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it all over for a bit. Hang on. So I'm rubbing a bit here with my finger, and you really can see that it does do something. Whether or not it's positive, that's up to you to decide, but you can see from the dirt, it does start off that light clay colour, and definitely takes on this dirtier appearance. But I'm being quite gentle with it and just applying it with my finger really, just to be sure that I'm getting all the curves. Don't do this with a blade in, of course, that would be bad. And I'm not going to touch the handle because the knurling is fine, and you've got danger really sometimes over there, so you can mess it up. You're definitely knurling, you could smooth out the numbering, the enamelled numbering on the shaft. That would certainly get damaged. Look at that. Let's give that a wipe. I think we could just give that a little buff now. I wonder if there's a way I can set this up. Oh. It's trying to cut through the paper. Be careful. Probably a towel would be better. Yeah, look at that. That's got some sparkle to it. That is fine. So there, I'm going to give this probably another dunk in the solvent, give it a little wash, and then I'll try that out. But keep an eye out on the old eBay and have a look, see if you can pick up some safety razor bargains for yourself. And are you a safety razor user? Please feel free to comment down below and let everybody know the virtues of safety razing, because when I show people I use these, they think I'm mad. Oh, we're not all mad, are we? Thanks for watching.